Hello dear friends, I am 𝙁𝙤𝙧𝙚 welcoming you all to my channel Ranger 𝙁𝙤 for a new video. In today's video, I am going to discuss the second chapter of forestry, that is silviculture. So let's begin. Let's see what is silviculture. Silviculture is that branch of forestry which deal with the establishment, development, care and reproduction of stands of timber. That is, regeneration of a forest is called silviculture. For generating the timber, we need to develop a forest. Initially, what was that in India, particularly? Initially, the production forestry was there. We actually forestry has been developed for production of the timber, because the need of timber was there at the time. In my previous video, I have discussed that how the forestry in India has been evolved. So from that point of view, initially it was the production, establishment, development, care and reproduction of stands of timber. Even according to Indian forest and forest product terminology, silviculture is defined as the art and science of cultivating forest crop. Cultivating forest crop means from seed sowing, or seedling rearing or nurturing the seedling to its harvest. That or the rotation, that is called the silviculture. But in present scenario, silviculture is the application of the principles of forest ecology into a stand of trees. Now the concept of silviculture has been changed. It is more or less more now conservation forestry kind of thing. So it is the principle of forest ecology to a stand of trees to help meet specified objective, such as, because forest is a wildlife habitat, forest maintains the water quality, forest gives us the recreation, forest gives us the income in terms of ecotourism. Even in some cases, while there is a selling of forest product is there, so state develops, state generates the income. That is the thing. And also some, there are many NTFPs from by which this local community earns their livelihood. That is also the thing. And also other tangible and intangible values of forest. Tangible means which is physical, and intangible means which is not physical, which we cannot touch it. That is called tangible benefits. Means timber, NTFPs, firewood, fodder are called tangible. Intangible means all the ecological value, purification of air, water, soil conservation, etc. are the intangible values of forest. So, what are the objectives of silviculture? That is, I have already discussed a little bit, but this is in broad: deriving environmental benefits, raising species of more economic value. So, this is from the production forestry, which was initially the concept was there. Production of plants of high quality timber species. Production of more volume per unit area. More volume per unit area means production of timber. The volume of timber has been calculated. We know some concept of CFT, kV, per cubic centimeter, how much timber is there. So production of more good quality timber is one of the objective of silviculture. So reduction of rotation period. Rotation period means from generation of plantation, means from plantation to its harvesting. That period is called the rotation period. So if we reduce the rotation period, we can yield more numbers of timber, more quality timber. So this is one of the objective of silviculture. So afforestation. Afforestation means plantation in a new area. Reforestation means the area where the plantation was there or the forest was there, but due to some reason it was denuded. Then again, foresting or planting trees in that area is called reforestation. Then afforestation or reforestation of blank areas. Nowadays in Assam particularly, this afforestation and reforestation usually we are doing it. But in case of in this timber yielding operation, it is being done in some parts of Kerala and Alapalli of Maharashtra. During our tour, we have seen these operations in those areas. But other areas we usually see the conservation or protection kind of forestry is there. And also introduction of exotics, like in my previous video, I have already mentioned about how Tipu Sultan had introduced eucalyptus, which is a very good tree, which is a raw material for a plywood and industry, even paper industry. So there are some good exotics which helps in Indian economy for growing. But there are many bad exotics are there which are creating havoc to Indian forestry. So we'll see these things. Employment potential, obviously, we have this timber-based industries. We have many forest-based industries, not only timber, forest-based industries, bamboo-based industries are there. So many employment potentials are there surrounding the forest. Increased production of fuels and fodder supply. Fodder, we know about fuel and fodder. What is fodder? Fodder is the livestock, feed of livestock. For example, suitable tree. For example, delicate level of other fodder. To increase raw materials for forest-based industries, as I have already mentioned about this plywood from eucalyptus, and also our paper industries. And also, yeah, we have good one another tree called poplar, which is very popular. Then tun, then cypress. These are very good raw material for plywood industries. Then potentially on NTFPs, potentiality of NTFPs, that non-timber forest product. Please remember this NTFP or non-timber forest product acronym and abbreviations. It used to come in the examinations. What is the relation with different branches of forestry with silviculture? Forestry, what is forestry? Forestry is defined as the theory and practice of all that constitutes the creation, conservation, and scientific management of forests and the utilization of their resources. And it has a very wide scope, but silviculture is only one of its branches. See, silviculture only deals with the cultivation of crops, but the forestry deals with cultivation as well as protection, as well as mensuration and management and marketing. All these aspects except forestry deals with, but the silviculture we only see about the cultivation of crop and their management and protection. See, this is the, but silviculture, silviculture is the key to manage the forest. It has the interrelation between all branches of forestry. Forest mensuration, measurement of the forest management, how forest has been managed, how the yield has been regulated, forest protection, the protection of forest from insect, pests, and other diseases. Utilization means how forest resources are being utilized. For example, timber and TFPs, fuelwood, firewood, industries, how that can be generated, how that can be, utilized. This is the branch. Then forest economics, forest finance, how the economy of the forest product, how the forest can be could be a source of income generation. These all are the things that how forest plays a major role in Indian economy. So these are the things how silviculture is related with growth of vegetation. So we know if we see the vegetation of different areas across India and also in other areas of the world. So we in each area we see different types of vegetation. We see the different types of forms, growth, or stem or branching. For example, if we grow from lower altitude to higher altitude, the vegetation used to change. For example, if we see the lower altitude, we usually get the broadleaf tree, but in higher altitude, we usually see the needle-shaped trees. So I'm just citing example. If we go to seashore, you will find different types of tree. So there are many factors that affects the vegetation. Those factors actually called as factors of locality. So what is factors of locality? These are the factors that influence the growth and composition of forest crop. That is called locality factors. So let's see what are the locality factors could be. So we can guess that those could be climatic, edaphic, topographic, biotic, which is influencing the vegetation of that locality or of the particular area, particular site. So climatic means related to climate, edaphic means related to soil, topography means related to their geographical location. Then biotic means human and other organism effect of other organisms, living organisms. Let's see the climatic factors. First climatic factor is light. The leaves are dependent on light for chlorophyll formation and also for production of their food. Photosynthesis mechanism of a plant. Photoperiod affects growth, breaking of dormancy of seed, germination, leaf fall, and flowering. For that we need to know, we need to read botany, how light impacts on germination, how light impacts on leaf fall, leaf shedding, flowering, etc. We have the in botany we have concept of photoperiodism. So please read that forest botany chapter, or if you have the background of botany, revise it. You need to know. Then according to light requirement, plants are classified into light demander, shade bearer, shade demander. There are a few examples of these trees. What type of these trees need to these trees need light while they are growing. And then these trees, shade bearer trees, gives shade to the shade demander trees. For example, Abyss pindro, these are the shade demander trees. And the next climatic factor is atmospheric temperature. Atmospheric temperature affects the activities of shoots, while soil temperature influences roots of the plants. Helps in physiological activities like transpiration, photosynthesis, respiration. When the atmospheric temperature is high, transpiration rate also goes high. So we know that actually. What is transpiration? Loss of moisture and loss of mineral from the leaves of the plant and by different parts of the plant is called transpiration. Vegetation on the basis of temperature. These are the criteria. Tropical is 24 degrees Celsius and more. Subtropical is 17 to 24 degrees Celsius. Temperate is 7 to 17 degrees Celsius. Alpine is less than 7 degrees Celsius. Another climatic factor is frost. What is frost? Frost is a thin layer of ice on a solid surface which form from water vapor in an above freezing atmosphere coming in contact with a solid surface whose temperature is below freezing point and resulting in a phase change from the water vapor to ice as the water vapor reaches the freezing point. Frost. Radiation frost, cool frost or convection frost, advective frost. What is radiation frost? The radiation frost usually occurs on nights with clear sky, produced by the loss of heat by radiation. See, dear friends, question used to ask from this frost chapter. They may, in case of multiple choice question, they may give you the definition and you have to define that term. For example, occurs at night with clear sky produced by loss of heat by radiation. There will be also radiation frost, cool frost, advective frost, none of them. You need to tick mark in radiation frost, or you need to select that answer. So that's why you need to know the definition rather than mugging up all these things without understanding. So you need to understand the concept. Cool frost or convection frost occurs due to accumulation to a considerable depth of heavy cold air flowing down into natural depression from adjoining higher areas. It is self-explanatory definition. Advective frost, transportation of chill air from other places. For example, the chill air has been transported from other place. For example, I'm in Guwahati. That the chill air is coming from that Shillong, and it is falling down. That is and it forms frost. That is called advective frost. What could be the losses due to frost? Death of seedlings, plant and trees, frost cracks, frost canker, many damage to the plants are there due to frost section. So usually frost section is a very tragic incident in the altitudinal high altitude areas. Actually, even same is applicable for snow. Also classification of vegetation in case of frost. Frost hardy means like who can bear the frost, where the frost cannot affect this vegetation, these plants. Acacia dalbergia sisu. Acacia is called khair in Assam. Dalbergia sisu is called sisu in Assam. Maduka indica is maduka, like mahua, Pinus roxburghi, or Pinus cassia. These all the Pinus species are frost hardy. Then frost tender, Tectona grandis, Terminalia arjuna, Terminalia alata, Garuga pinnata as the director indica. Terminalia arjuna is called Arjuna in Assam. Tectona grandis is Segun in Assam. As the director indica is Neem in Assam. Even Sal is a frost tender species. In higher altitudes, snow occurs, which is both harmful. I have already talked about the snow. It may in some cases it also acts as blanket and prevents further decrease in temperature. But mostly it causes breaking of branch, soil erosion, and also blockage the leaf pores. So these are some harmful effects of snow and frost. Then also high temperature result. We know the high temperature, deficiency of moisture, definitely loss of water, and also excessive transpiration happens. So it may kill the plant. Coming to the rainfall and humidity. Rainfall and humidity influence growth of the trees as well as biodiversity. More rainfall zones like tropical rainforests have big and taller trees with more diversity as compared to less rainfall zones. Usually in higher rainfall zones, we have good number of biodiversity and we have big and tall trees, usually broadleaf trees, as compared to less rainfall zones. Humidity affects on vital activities of trees, which turgidity, mineral absorption, respiration, regeneration, and soil formation. And because we know that water forms about 90 to 95% of constituent of cell wall and 80% of part of the protoplasm. That's why rainfall and humidity is quite important for growth of the plant. It is one of the raw material for requirement of photosynthesis. We know how leaves synthesize their food. Carbon dioxide from atmosphere and water from the soil in presence of sunlight. Majority of the plant go for photosynthesis for production of their food, that is glucose. Then respiration, translocation of food and minerals. For all these activities, water. Plants need water. This is the classification on the basis of rainfall. More than 2500 millimeters is called wet zone, and usually the vegetation used to be found is wet evergreen forest, and regions are Western Ghats and Northeast India. 2500 to 900 millimeters is called intermediate or humid area. We found this type of vegetation with semi-evergreen. We get with semi-evergreen or moist deciduous plant in Assam or Northeast India, Western and Eastern Ghats and other areas, Central and Shivalik and Himalayan forest. Less than 900 millimeter is called dry area, dry deciduous. We usually get this dry deciduous and desert and semi-desert thorn forest and scrub in other parts, that Rajasthan, parts of Andhra, Telangana, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, MP, Haryana, Gujarat, Karnataka, Odisha, and UP. So wind affects, it is one of the abiotic factors that affects the form of tree as well as their distribution. On exposed side, it reduces, like the tree side of a tree which is exposed to the wind, it reduces the height and increase the taper. Which is taper? Taper is from reduction of diameter of the tree from base to tip is called the taper. Some topographic factors that altitude that affects vegetation through its influence on temperature and rainfall. Slope affects runoff and drainage. Aspect and exposure determines the amount of insolation received by hill slope, and southern aspect usually warmer and drier than the northern aspects. Edaphic factors, the factors related to soil. It is defined as the ecological influence brought about by physical and chemical characteristic of soil. That ecological influence means like growth of plant and all. It provides environment to roots, provide nutrients and water to the plants, affects size as well as the rate of growth of trees, yield of trees, and their natural regeneration. These are some biotic factors. It refers to the different influence obtained from living organism. That is called biotic. These are that is called biotic factors. So dear friends, let's see what are the biotic factors. How the plant influences plant influences other plants is competition. Which is competition? Competition refers to the struggle for limited available food between the same species. As a general rule, survival of the fittest rules the habitat. Then parasites. Parasites are the plants which derive the nutrient on other plants and thereby decrease the vigor of the host plant. Under extreme conditions, the host plant become died. We have many parasites like Kaskuta. In Assamese, it is called Akakilota. Then Roghumola. So there are many plants which usually grows on other trees, but in later stage, some parasites which are the complete parasite. There are partial parasite and complete parasite, and there are two types of parasitic plants. So the complete parasite usually kill the plant, the host plant. Epiphytes. Those epiphytes are those plants which usually take shelter to grow, but it won't harm the tree. That is called epiphyte. For example, orchids. They don't take food from their mother plant or a host plant. It only takes shelter on that tree. Climber are the plants which depend on other plants mainly for physical support. For example, it's called 𝐾𝐿𝐴. And climbers are the plants which depends on the other plant mainly for physical support. It reduces the diameter increment of the growing trees. Thus, it it affects that host tree. Then weeds. Weeds are the unwanted plant for that area, simply plants out of place. It competes with main species for light, water, space, and nutrients. It results in poor growth of main species. For example, in case of entire India, Lantana camera is a weed. Parthenium hysteroporus is a weed. So these plants are impacting the growth of the main species, the bigger species, or the desired species. You can say the desired species, not kind of bigger species, desired species. For example, in a grassland, if we need a grass and the weed used to be grown, so we need to remove that weed. That grassland should be intact. Okay. In a woodland, if we need only the woodland or not the weed, or also there are many associated plants of a particular tree or some particular plants. If that weed used to be grown in that area, that those other particular plants or indicator species or that other associated species cannot grow. So that's why we need to remove that weed. Thus this weeds impact the plant. Fungal attack. That how fungi usually cause many diseases to tree species. In case of mycorrhiza fungus, it augments the phosphorus nutrition to plants through solubilization and mobilization of soil phosphorus. Influence of insect. Insect usually feeds plant parts such as leaf, fruit, seed, flower, etc. as their food. Severe defoliation decreases the plant photosynthesis and reduces the plant growth. There are many plant insects. The names are 𝐕𝐢𝐝, then Ativa fibriciola. And these are some insects which usually defoliate the tree or bores their shoots of the tree, etc. Then influence of other wild animal. Wild animal, mainly herbivores, feed on the living plants for their livelihood. The population of palatable plant species depends on the herbivorous population. Excess herbivorous decreases the palatable species or the vice versa. Bear stripes the bark of certain trees for its food source. Antlers rub their antlers against the trees to set it off. This activity exposes the bark, which enhances the disease infection, usually. Elephants breaks and tramples the young seedlings. Thus, wild animals also influence the vegetation in an area, but also some animal, for example, elephant, after when it excretes out its dung, it also elephant, whatever seed is being eaten by elephant, it is half digest. That hides the half digest in some cases. For example, Trivia nudiflora seed, they used to after the half digestion, it actually germinates faster. So thus it helps in germination also. Even that case is applicable to many bird species which used to transport the seeds through by their half digested seed. After they used to excrete out, trees used to be grown. Thus seed dispersal is also being done by elephants or other bird species. So there are some good impacts of even this insects. For example, honeybee used to go for pollination of the flowers. So there are many good or bad impacts. Rather than bad impacts, many good impacts are there from the wild animals or other insects in case of plants. Human impact. How human impacts the plant. It actually, we have many human impacts nowadays. Deforestation are there, habitat fragmentation are there. Then for it usually being done for timber extraction, fuel, food, wood, shelter, medicine, and others. So human only allowing the mostly species which they need them in their utility more in relation to his ones actually. So thus human is impacting the plant survival of the plant. So dear friends, that's all from this silviculture first chapter of the silviculture and also second chapter of this forestry syllabus. So we'll continue this forestry discussion further. Till then, if you did not understand any concept from this video, please let me know. I'll be very happy to verify all those doubts whatever you have. So for that you need to write it to me in my comment box, and if you have liked my video also do let me know, and please click like button, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Any new video. Till then, with the hope to meet you again, take care, bye bye, Jai Hind.